Welcome back to the Move to Millions podcast. I am your host, Dr. Darnyelle, God Girl, spiritual business growth strategist, award-winning eight-figure CEO, and best-selling author of Move to Millions, the proven framework to become a million-dollar CEO with grace and ease instead of hustle and grind. This episode is powered by Move to Millions Live. If you are a seven-figure CEO in the making, looking for a safe, significant, and aligned space to expand your capacity and break through the blocks and beliefs that are keeping you from your abundant mandate, then I want you to go learn more and secure your seat today at movetomillionsevent.com. Now, in today's episode, I'm probably going to snatch a couple of edges, and I'm just going to give you the preamble up front and let you know I'm coming for your identity. One of the things that I committed to doing in season 6 is going bigger and showing up bigger. It requires me to come at you bigger, and it requires me to get in your stuff so that you can get out of your way and get to these millions, because your millions are waiting for you, the real you, the seven-figure you, to show up. So your low six-figure habits are not going to get you to seven figures. It is really time for you to become the CEO that your business truly needs. So my question for you is this: who are you becoming on your journey to seven figures? Because write this down if you're taking notes, your business will never outgrow the person that is running it. I should probably just let that one breathe for a second. I'll wait. Let me say that one more time for the people in the back. Your business will never outgrow the person that is running it. So if you don't make the shifts that are required to step boldly and fully into the seven-figure mandate, the one that sits in your belly, the one that makes you nervous over the course of the day, the reason why you journal incessantly about getting to this number because of everything that will unlock when it does, all of that, you need to shift into it and shift from it in order for it to show up. I believe that money needs purpose to flow in. And the purpose that we establish for money to flow into our life experience is accelerated when we become, when we are being, right? I think about Genesis 1:26, be fruitful and multiply. Fruitful, as I'm talking to you, not how God was talking to Adam and Eve, which would be to reproduce so that they could fill the earth, but your fruitfulness today as an entrepreneur, small business owner, is doing good work in the marketplace. It's not being a scoundrel or a scam, but actually causing and being the solution to the problems that your most ideal clients have had and have been unsuccessful at solving on their own. When you can show up as fruit to solve a problem that your client has been experiencing, that is you being fruitful, and the multiplication comes as they pay you, as they honor your gifts, your talents, and your expertise, and invest in themselves through your products and services. So today we're going to explore the identity shift that will unlock seven-figure growth for your business, and I'm going to give you some practical steps of things that you can do to begin to make it happen. So let's jump in. So to get started, let's start by defining what I mean when I say identity shift, right? So if someone asks you the question, who are you? If someone asked me, Darnyelle, who are you? I always define myself first and foremost as a child of the Most High God, his favorite daughter. That is the core essential of my identity. I then go on to talk about being a daughter, being a wife, being a friend, being a sister. And then I talk about being a CEO. Right? All of those things shape and form my identity. But what I've had to learn is that my identity is not about the dollar amount in my bank account. Now, I get it. If you grew up like I grew up, broke as a joke, and not knowing where the next whatever was coming from, it is so easy to slip into and it is so easy to sleep. Okay, podcast team, we're going to have to edit this piece out because I keep messing up. It is so easy to slip into an identity that is based on money. But money is not who you are. Money is what you may possess based on the energetic flow and the abundant alignment that you exist in. So who you be, your identity needs to be one of abundance, because that is your birthright. That is what God designed you to experience in your life. Now, it is not lost on me that that might sound real cute, but it might not be real easy for you to figure out how you're going to actually pull this thing off and shift your identity, because for as long as you could remember, it's been about the money. As an entrepreneur, small business owner, it's about the money. There's tons of statistics out there talking about what happens in small business, right? That 47,000 is what the average Black woman-owned business generates in a year, according to 2024's Wells Fargo Small Business Report, right? That $192,000 is what the average white woman-owned business does. These have been markers for our identity since we were yay high to a grasshopper. So it's going to be challenging to shift and to misalign your identity with all of the money that is or is not inside of your life experience. So what you have to keep in mind is that it's not just about doing things different. It's about becoming a different person in the way that you think, act, and lead. Because honestly, probably the most important identity you need to take on and wear like a badge of honor is a leader, if you want to be generating 7 figures or more a year. Now, most of us really do tie our identity to our bank account balance. I definitely used to. I felt like if I had money, then I was worthy. I mean, I'm just keeping it real with you. But then I realized that my worth was really unrelated to my bank account balance. And it started to happen when I started to deepen my relationship with the Father, when I started to spend more time with God. And I'm not talking about religiousness, right? I'm not talking about going to church and calling that time with God. I'm talking about in my own practice when no one is around. I'm talking about the 20 minutes when I first wake up in the morning, my eyes first open. I'm talking about my 30 minutes on the treadmill every single day when I speak only in my prayer language. I'm talking about reading the Bible and unlocking the stories and the lessons that God put in there for me, that I could feel in my spirit, and that I could know immediately that I am his beloved daughter in whom he is well pleased, and he is talking to me. It is about recognizing that who I be is exactly who the world needs in this season. That everyone called to me has been called to me because there is a spiritual pull and connection and alignment that's happening. Like for those of you who listen to this podcast and come back every single new episode, you're called to this work. And my identity is to be the fulfillment of what it is that you are most needing in this season so that you continue to rise up and become more of who God called forth and created you to be. Now, resisting the identity shift that is required to bring more money into your life experience, it's an honest one. And a lot of people do it, right? Because it sounds really counterintuitive and productive to say, the way to get to 7 figures is to remove money from your identity. Wait, what? How does that work? Where does that make sense? It doesn't, right? In the natural, it doesn't make sense. But because we know that money is spiritual, because we know that neuroscience and psychology and the psychology of money tells us that we have to be in alignment with the abundance of the universe and not focused on the money for the sake of the money, then maybe we can actually put ourselves in a position to actually shift out of the identity. So I want to share with you some of the reasons why entrepreneurs and small business owners resist the shift. Because I believe, first and foremost, I know this was my experience, that it is scary to lose sight of what's familiar. And money, since you are a child, has been a thing, right? When you first came into the realization that there was something called money, and every day since, you've had to make decisions about money. Right? Deciding to get in your car and start it is a money decision. Deciding to turn on your lights or to turn on the faucet or to turn on the shower or to turn on the fireplace or to open the refrigerator, that's a money decision. Deciding to put on clothes every single day is a money decision. So how can I not make my identity about money, right? I get it, because I struggled with it too. So here are the biggest reasons I find that entrepreneurs and small business owners actually resist making the shift. Number one, deeply ingrained beliefs about money. Now, many of us Darnyelle included, grew up with all the wrong beliefs, right? Money is the root of all evil. Money doesn't go in a tree out back. You got to work hard for money. Money is only for what you need. Rich people are evil, all the things. Many of us grew up that way. And those beliefs are often inherited from our family, in our culture, from our church, from society, and they ultimately become subconscious barriers. So here's the thing about your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind takes everything that's presented to it as if it is the truth. Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between true and false. So everything that comes in, it internalizes as if it is true. And I'm sure right there you can see the havoc it's wreaking on your life. The other thing that's important for you to know is that your subconscious mind controls your life experience. So the average human being, according to many studies, has 60,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thoughts. Now, you are only really privy to and conscious of and honestly actively making decisions for 3,000 of those thoughts. The other 57,000 are the ones that are operating behind the scenes of your life that you aren't even aware of, and they're driving the way you show up and do most of the things you do. Ever heard the saying, how you do anything is how you do everything? Yeah, that's your subconscious mind. And so we have to make what is subconscious conscious by really looking at our beliefs around money. It's why I talk about money so much on the podcast. Well, honestly, I talk about money so much because I want you to normalize access to it. More money will not flow into your life experience until it stops being this arduous, elusive thing for you. Until it's commonplace, until it's something that you can access whenever you decide, it's going to be a problem for you. So that's why we talk about it. And that's why just by listening every single week to these episodes, your income is going up and your ability to attract the money that you want in your life experience is elevating just from being here and dealing with these beliefs. So it'll show up as you feeling guilty about making or wanting more money, right? You won't tell a certain group of your friends why you want what it is that you want because you are afraid of being judged by them. So instead, you downplay and dismiss. Sound familiar? Right? It'll show up as avoiding conversations about money or pricing or not looking at your numbers, not looking at your bank accounts, which is really a problem if you desire to be a seven-figure CEO. You literally have to get in the habit of checking your money every single day, honestly. And it'll show up as undercharging for services in order to avoid being seen as greedy, right? I have actually had people say to me, why do you charge that much? You don't need all of that money. And just like I don't project anybody else's pocketbook and what they do with their money, I kindly, respectfully tell people to stop projecting mine. It's hard to be the change when you don't have any. And for me, having access to more resource is my birthright. And I'm not going to apologize or downplay or dismiss my desire to have more money than I can give, spend, invest, and save. Because I do all of those things with my money. Give, invest, spend, and save. All of them. Now, the second reason why people resist making the identity shift to remove money from their identity is because they fear responsibility or visibility. I think a lot of people realize that if they took their focus off money, more money would show up. It's like when you're looking for your keys, right? You're looking for your keys, you're looking everywhere, you're turning the house apart for your keys, you cannot find them. And as soon as you say, well, forget it, I'll do something else, all of a sudden the keys are right there, right? I've seen this happen with people. It didn't happen for me when my husband and I were trying to get pregnant, but I've seen it happen for a lot of people. They take their focus off of trying to get pregnant, they adopt, and then they get pregnant because they're not focused on it anymore. Have you ever heard of the saying, detach from the outcome? That's what is meant. And when you detach your identity from the outcome, you actually will the universe to bring you more of the outcome. It's crazy, but that's the way that it works. Now, why people fear the responsibility or the visibility is because often getting to seven figures comes with more responsibility. You do show up more. People do start to put you at a higher level on a pedestal, and therefore they have more expectations of you. Entrepreneurs ultimately may feel that they don't want to be judged, and they fear that if they are judged and they are still making mistakes, then those mistakes will be held accountable for them. Or that they'll have to have a bigger team, right? So a lot of you guys really fear having a team, and you have minimize the significance of your business because you're so afraid to grow a team. But if you really want to make more money, go hire people because it will put you in the energetic flow of more money coming in. How it shows up. It'll actually show up, this fear of responsibility or visibility, as sabotaging growth opportunities, saying no to opportunities to do greater work. It'll show up as staying in your comfort zone so that you feel safe and feel like you are in control. And it'll show up as avoiding leadership roles or stepping into your CEO identity. Because your CEO identity is the identity you really need to exploit and expand, not your money identity, and not being associated in who you are and who you be with money. Money is what you have, it's not who you are. Money is what you create, it's not who you are. Money is what you give, it's not who you are. You might be benevolent or philanthropic, but your money is not who you are, it's what you give, it's what you put out. See the difference? And when you can learn how to connect that, then that's going to make a real big difference for you. Because the reality of the situation is that most entrepreneurs don't realize that they're avoiding the very growth that they say that they desire because they are not actually moving in the direction of what it is that they most need to bring. Because they want to feel safe or they want to stay playing small. And trust me, I get it. I get it about playing small. Been there, done that, got all the t-shirts. I want you to think about the money in your life and the trauma that it has produced over time. It will ultimately probably take you back to childhood when you didn't feel loved, when you didn't feel safe, when you didn't feel like your needs were being met. Because of that lack of money and the unmet needs that it caused, it will create tension and stress to flare up in your life experience today. And you will start to placate and tell yourself it's okay that you keep running your low six-figure business. But here's what I want you to know, beloved. If you have a desire for seven figures, it is not your original idea or construct. God placed that desire in you. And I can prove it to you. The Bible says, when you delight yourself in the Lord, he gives you the desires of your heart. And what the scripture is really saying is that the desires that you hold are given to you by God. So it was God's idea. It's not a good idea, it's a God idea. And that should be a game changer for you. Now, let's talk about just a few of the quick signs that you are stuck in a low six-figure identity. I'm going to do a complete episode, I think, on all of the signs that your identity is messing with your ability to hit seven figures. But for now, I'm going to give you a couple. Micromanaging instead of trusting and delegating to your team. Overworking to feel that you are being productive instead of focusing on those highly leveraged profit-producing activities. Or avoiding making decisions that require you to be bold, to stand up, to show up, to step up, and to be the seven-figure CEO of the company that commands attention and is making big moves. Those are just a few. Those are just a few. Let's clean that up, podcast team. Those are just a few of the errors that you are likely making that will put you in a position that your identity will be compromised and in question. And if any of this sounds like you, getting to seven figures is not about strategy. It's about a shift in identity. It's the most important thing I want you to understand right now. Now, let's talk about the steps to really embody the identity that will get you to seven figures. Now, again, I want to be clear. When I talk about the identity that will give you to seven figures is not your identity. It's who you are being and becoming that will create the capacity for the seven figures to flow into your life experience. So number one, you're going to have to upgrade your daily habits. Now, it's important that you establish a CEO level routine, because it is important that your identity as a CEO include the actions, decisions, and moves that a CEO must make in order to be grounded in a business that generates at that level. So you're going to have to establish priorities and set boundaries. You're going to have to manage your energy and your self-care, and you're going to have to focus on growth-producing activities first. Now, there are awareness generating activities and there are revenue generating activities. You need to spend 80% of your time on revenue generating activities and 20% of your time on awareness generating activities. There is a time and a place for both. But as a CEO on the move to millions, as a 7-figure CEO in the making, you're going to have to shift your priorities and really focus your energy and the activities that you accomplish on a day to day. You're going to also have to expand your environment. You're going to have to think about what you are proximate to. Are you proximate to people who live abundance, who you can see their abundance oozing out of their pores every single day? Or are you proximate to people who live lack and you can hear that lack every single time they open their mouth? You might have to change the circles that you run in. We've all heard the Zig Ziglar that you become like the 5 people with whom you spend the majority of your time. You might have to do that self-assessment and look at those 5 people and rate them. If they are a positive influence and you feel your vibration elevating and you feel a high vibration when you are around them, then you give them a plus sign. If when you write their name down and you think about them, you feel a low vibration or you feel like they detract your energy or spending time with them makes you tired, you give them a minus sign. If when you write their name down, you can't really differentiate whether they are positive or negative, you give them a slash. That means for right now, they're indifferent. The pluses get to stay. The minuses have to be phased out. And the slashes get an additional 90 days to influence you one way or another, so that you are making sure that you're always spending time and in environments with people who are at your next level or ascending to your next level along with you. They are adding value, not detracting value. And that's going to be important as well. You're going to have to attend events like Move to Millions Live and our Soul and Strategy Retreat and God Girls Making Millions. All of the events we host every single year are filled with people that are at 7 figures or on their way to 7 figures. Mind, body, spirit, and strategy. And that's what's going to be important. You're going to have to look at enrolling in programs and masterminds and getting into rooms with people who think abundant. You want to make sure that the teachers, the mentors, the coaches, and consultants that you hire operate from the paradigm of abundance instead of the paradigm of lack. You want to make sure you're spending time with teachers and mentors who think expansive instead of expensive. People who think expensive are lack-minded people because there's no such thing. It's all relative, right? And number 3, you want to act as if. The Bible says, speak those things that be not as though they are, meaning in the present, they are in your life experience. So I'm suggesting that you move like and act like you already are. So you're going to have to ask yourself, what does my 7-figure self look like? How does she dress? Who does she spend time with? How does she spend her day? How does she start her day? How does she end her day? What conversations does she get involved in? What rooms does she get in? How does she make decisions? What opportunities does she explore? You need to think about that and begin to embody that in advance. As you begin to embody, you expand your container and you expand your capacity for more experiences that allow this version of yourself to show up in your life experience. You want to start thinking about making decisions from your vision point and not your vantage point. Your vision point being 7 or 8 figures, your vantage point being where you are right now, which is always skewed. Right? You want to ask yourself, the reason I wear my What Would Abundance Do bracelet is so that when I am approaching or even feeling lack, because I'm human, I can recognize right away that it is in fact lack, and I can ask myself, what would abundance do? What would my 8-figure self do? What would my 9-figure portfolio having self do? How would she respond in this moment? Would she give her energy to that? And then I can redirect my efforts because I'm human. And y'all know I'm on the cross with Velcro. So that means your girl comes down when people be acting a fool. I know how to check you. I know how to put you in your place. Don't send for me unless I've come for you, right? Like, here's the thing. We're human. And as human beings, we are going to naturally react and feel the emotions that are synonymous with our life experience, the sum total of it. But just because it shows up does not mean that you have to give it space. And this is where understanding your identity comes in and really allowing yourself to shift the way that you must shift in order to be able to make it happen. There have been so many moments in my life where I literally stood at the proverbial crossroad And I went left instead of going right and stepped fully into the identity of who I desired to be so that I could experience everything. Think about the model of abundance. The model asks one detailed question: who must I be in order to do what I desire to do so that I can have what I desire to have? Who must I be in order to do what I desire to do so that I can have what I desire to have? Be first, do second, have third. Who must I be? Embody before you effort. Because if you embody before you effort, your effort will be substantially less, but your results will be substantially more. Can I get a witness up in here? Listen, this is what has changed the game for me. I know it will change the game for you. For those of you who have already purchased your ticket to Move to Millions Live, I'm excited for you because one of my $1 million intensives is on 7-figure energy. And I'm literally going to teach you how to embody right now the 7-figure version of yourself so that by the time you join me in May, the accelerant has already up-leveled your life experience and the abundance, the 7 figures they're wafting in. That is what's possible when you learn how to embody before you effort. It's a game changer. I want you to keep in mind that leaders who focus on personal growth and development and doing their identity and alignment work are 60% more likely to hit their business growth goals. This is why our programs take a holistic approach to entrepreneurship and growing your business to 7 figures. This is why we work on the whole CEO. This is why the Move to Millions method has 7 pillars: strategy, sales, systems, support, success mindset, spirituality or spiritual principles, and self-care. Because we understand that 60% growth is possible when there is an emergence of these things coming together for you. I think about so many clients that we've worked with over the years that because they learn how to embody before they effort it, it has made a substantial difference inside of their life and business. I think about Lakeisha, who's an attorney, who over the years, we've watched her business grow. When I first started working with her many, many years ago, she's an OG client. She wasn't even making $100,000 a year when we first started working with each other, probably nearly more than 10 years ago. And then she came and worked with me. We got her to $100,000, $180,000. Then we got her to $250,000. And now her business is doing more than $500,000 a year on her way to 7 figures. Now, I believe that once you decide, once you make the decision that you are going to embody before you effort 7 figures in your business, it's going to take you anywhere from 1 to 3 years if you continue to embody and effort as your 7-figure self, because there are foundational systems that we have to put in first, right? There are operational infrastructure gaps that we have to close first. Otherwise, you'll hit the milestone, but you won't be able to sustain it. And then you'll find yourself reverting back to a 6-figure business when you were called to 7 figures or more. And so we take our time and work with our clients for 3 years on average. Many stay longer. Lakeisha, as an example, has been a client for way more than that. And we do this because this work is intensive and it takes time. And your ability to dismantle the beliefs and the blocks that are in the way is going to determine how quickly the revenue starts to increase. As we chip away at the blocks, then the revenue starts to accelerate. And it can happen in a year. We've had clients where it's happened in a year. We've had clients where it's happened in 2 years. We've had clients where it's happened in 3 years. We have clients who haven't realized it yet. In full transparency and honesty, I do not make a guarantee that the day you come to work with us, you'll cross 7 figures. There are variables that are involved, and there is a level of you, an embodiment of you, of identity of you that has to show up in order to see the results come into your life and in your business. We can help you with all of that because that is what it is that we do through our programs for our small business clients. So here's what I want to challenge you with as we round out this episode to take some inspired action. Number 1, I want you to decide one thing that you'll do differently this week that will align to your 7-figure CEO identity. I want you to embody this mantra this week, and we'll anchor this in the Move to Millions Minute. Your business will never outgrow you. You have to become the leader your business needs to grow. Mm. And lastly, I want to invite you, if you love this episode and if I've got your spidey senses tingling, then I want to invite you to join me for Move to Millions Live. I want you to come and spend 3 to 3.5 days with me in a container that is designed to accelerate your spiritual alignment and the abundance that is waiting in the wings to come into your life experience. This event is the only event you need as a 7-figure CEO in the making. You will literally get everything that you need. It's like business church and getting an MBA in 3 days. It is an amazing experience that will catapult you to your next level. All you need to bring is an expansive mindset and a helmet, because there are lots of moments where you will have to brace yourself from all of the abundance that is burgeoning to come your way. To learn more about Move to Millions Live, go to movetomillionsevent.com. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.